But first, I want to talk about centered selling and what that is. So Mike Branton, that's me. Centered selling is just the business side of what I do. The LLC entity that exists for the business side, the money side of my business. I want to talk about how I came up with that, though, because that's really important for tonight's talk. I'm pretty sure nobody was guessing nasty ceiling fan as the way that happened, right? So one of my hobbies, one of my passions is renovating houses. And shortly after I got laid off and began pursuing this business as a full-time sales coach, I was going through the process that I think we all go through of trying to find that perfect name, trying to find exactly the right branding and everything like that. And I was working in a house that I was renovating, and I was taking down a fan, not this one, but one pretty much like this. It was kind of black and gold and 80s looking and pretty nasty. It had the bent blades. It had been up there so long. And I'm up here on my ladder, and I'm going to take it down. And if anybody's ever taken down a ceiling fan, there's that kind of cover on the top there, not the white part, the part that's still green. You can see there's some screws there, and then there's wiring that goes down into the base. And so I'm up on my ladder, and this is about a 12-foot ceiling. I've taken these down plenty of times. I've put up and taken down ceiling fans dozens and dozens of times. Well, when you take everything down and kind of cut the wires, there's this moment where the ceiling fan drops and you've got to catch it. And when you're on a ladder, that can be a dangerous thing. And this particular day, I was sitting here and I just didn't want to cut that last wire, and I couldn't figure out why. It just didn't feel right. I had this kind of impending feeling of something bad going to happen. And I stopped and kind of paid attention for a minute, and I realized I was really, my ladder was kind of this way, and I was completely off balance on the ladder. I'd been so distracted by thinking about company names and where my money was going to come from, and people that had wronged me in the layoff and everything like that. And I just let that distraction get in the way of being safe on my ladder. And when I realized that, I just sort of adjusted. I got down and turned my ladder so the legs were right, and I got back up on there and took it down and walked down, and everything was fine. And that's when I sort of thought, oh wow, once I found my center, I was able to do exactly what I already needed to do, what I already knew how to do. It was just a matter of my own comfort level that wasn't there, because inside, inherently, I could feel that I wasn't really being safe. And that's where the name comes from. So when you're centered, when you're promoting yourself, you're focused on your passion. You're in touch with what makes you proud. You know what you have to offer people and you can articulate it. You have confidence. You're naturally authentic because you're in the zone. And you're very attractive to your prospects, to the people you're talking to, because you're coming from the heart. And by the way, I'm going to talk tonight about prospects as just a blanket term. So if you're in business, those are your customers. If you're a student, those are your prospective employers. If you are an inventor, perhaps your prospects are people who might give you venture capital, or people who might get behind your idea or something like that. So whatever that is to you, when I say prospects, that's what I'm talking about. So this is what it's like to be centered. What do you think of this guy? He looks like he's centered, or at least he's comfortable, right? I mean, he looks comfortable. I don't think he should be. He's standing on the top rung of that ladder, and he's got all of his weight on the ceiling fan. So here we have a guy who is very comfortable but probably shouldn't be, and that's where we get salespeople like this.
Wasn't that you in that picture?
This one?
Yeah.
No. No, that's, I think I went on Google and I typed in unsafe ladder, and it just happened that the guy was dealing with the ceiling fan. I was like, oh, cool. Okay, so this guy, I think, is really what we're all trying not to be. Right? I think this picture pretty much encapsulates being salesy. And salesy, by the way, takes on two forms. When you feel salesy, that's your experience. When you're feeling salesy, that's your experience. And your fear of being salesy, your fear of being this guy, can often prevent you from getting out there and promoting yourself. And if you've got something awesome to bring to the world, and you're letting your fear of salesiness keep you from helping people, then what better way to get over that feeling of salesiness, right? And the other way that salesiness happens is when you're being salesy, and that's when you transfer that feeling to somebody else. Okay, so we're trying not to be that guy.